some of the guys that have used my service, obviously myself, Ty Tessman, Ryan Mayfield, Robert Battle, Spencer Rivkin, Mike Truey, you know, a lot of other guys, just kind of local, regional level racers all over the world. I've even had guys send in engines from Philippines and some guys from Europe and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool.
I've been sending my stuff to Adam Drake to break in on his machine.
I use Adam because I know he's got the most experience probably of anybody.
I would trust him over anybody.
The oil to use, everything, he's got that all figured out, so I don't even have to worry about that.
The amount of time and effort he puts in, you know, he's done a lot of research when it comes to the kind of oil you would put in there.
A ton of experience with it, a ton of knowledge.
Adam's worked with a lot of people that understand oil and what viscosity would work best with this type of material, and these really tight tolerances that these engines have.
At the end of the day, you're going to save you some time and some money. What's up, Nitro Nation, Muggy Maniac, little late night ranching in the cave. Welcome all newbies, middies, oldie but goodies, dinosaurs like me, especially newbies. I think I mentioned there's probably at least a dozen or more newbies in Nitro, guys that have went from 5th scale and actually now checking out Nitro because they've never, I don't know how that happened. They missed Nitro somehow. They went from probably nothing to 5th scale, or they went from E-word to, I don't know how they missed Nitro. Nitro, man, I recommend if you're going to get into 5th scale and you want to be, how should I say, an aggressive 5th scale, you know, enthusiast, successful, and, you know, do good. That's why John Bodegel does really great. By the way, shout out to my Nitro brother for life, Mr. Bodegel. Shout out to Elite RC, my other 5th scale. I have 5th scale brothers too. I don't just have Nitro brothers. So, you know, I'm watching, you know, a lot of 5th scale videos as well. You know, 5th scale and Nitro. Just no E-word bullshit. Okay, I don't do the E-word. So if you're looking for E-word advice, or, you know, you're on the wrong channel. Or if you're looking for a guy that does, you know, E-word and Nitro, wrong channel again. This is 100% pure Nitro in this cave. And there's no E-word. The only thing E-word in here, well, is the radio, the receiver, and the batteries. Okay? Cordless drill. Battery charger. Yeah, that's the only thing E-word in here. There's no, everything else is straight Nitro. But anyway, to get back to what I was talking to you. By the way, that video there that I was showing you, some people are familiar with it, but especially you newbies, probably that's not even something you want to concern yourself with, although it's something you might want to look at if you want to get to another level. That right there is not next level. That's like mega level. That's like you want to become the professor, the, you know, I, you know, consider myself more the mad scientist than the professor, although I can be a little professor. I'm, you know, I like to think that if you guys have watched my video, I can be very technical, but at the same time, I don't want to give you all the technical mumbo jumbo talk, because then I'm going to lose, you know, the thoughts of, you know, a newbie. I got to keep it basic, keep it simple. I want to keep this, although, like I said, I want you, if you're new, might as well learn it from the get-go, okay? But at the same time, I want to keep it simple, stupid. KISS principle. K-I-S-S, you ever heard of that? Keep it short and simple. Keep it short and stupid, okay? I'm gonna, you know, and I know there's guys that, you know, have a long way to go. Like I said, if you've been doing this a year or less, you're a newbie. You're a rookie, okay? I'm not even, you know, Mr. Seasoned Veteran. I'm probably intermediate, I would say, you know? John is definitely, you know, as far as bashing, pro level, okay? So, I'm not going to compare myself to him, that he just happens to be, you know, one of my teachers that taught me most of the stuff that I know. But that guy there, Adam Drake, he taught me a lot too, and I studied him a lot. And I like Adam because Adam is definitely he has this shit down to a science, and that's what it takes if you want to see the results and to have less problems and to see your motors last for as long as possible, and everything that you do just stand the test of time, and in the long run, more importantly, save you a shitload of money. Like if you have just tons of money to just throw around, you know, if you got Daddy Warbucks and you're frickin', you know, Mr. Pimp Dog or whatever, and you got, you know, cash to burn, then hey, you might not want to tune into my channel, because you know, this channel is for the guy, the average Joe guy that, you know, wants to watch his penny, so to speak. And, you know, I can be a penny pincher, and I've also learned the hard way where there's things you just can't cut corners on. You're gonna have to spend the money. Like these right here. You want to save yourself a lot of headaches and less hardware you're stripping out, and less time and all that bullshit that comes, you know. Have you ever stripped out shit, and then you got to drill it out, and then you got, man, that's a pain in the ass. Excuse my language. Fuck all that. Here you go. Is it cheap? No. Can be up to $20 for one. But are they worth it? Hell yeah. I've only got, you know, a handful of these, and I'm trust me, I got these aren't the only ones, but these are the top dog. Huddy's makes some good ones, and Huddy's probably the equivalent to Mac tools, which are great. These are Snap-on though. Okay, and then, you know, there's other you know, other tools. Like I think I've got some Hot Racing makes some good ones. You know, but you measure the tools, and anybody knows that, are measured by MIP. These are the Snap-on of tools. Period. End of story. No discussion, no argument there. These will save you so many headaches. Like when I'm, you know, wrenching on stuff where I know I'm going to need some torque, and I don't want to risk rounding out any of my set screws or anything, this is it. But if I know it's something pretty light, you know, I have Dynamites and I have Huddies, and you know, I have another set that I'm getting. I seen it's a Hot Racing makes some nice ones, you know, and they're affordable, and you know, but that took me a while, man. I just couldn't justify spending $100 on a couple wrenches. I was like, I don't, you know. So I learned the hard way. Continued to strip out screws and set screws and all that headaches and shit. I said, you know what? I got it. Well, let me get a pair of these, and I don't regret it. Like these will be the last pair of hand drivers that you buy. I'm even looking into their the open end box wrenches. They're called. You know, the ones with the sockets on the end. You know, another $100. But that's the best, man. So, you know, I mean, these are things that you just can't cut corners on. But there's other things. What, you know, I don't need to go, you know, to Home Depot and buy a, you know, a $30 paintbrush. Here you go, man. 99-cent store. Still works. And I use them. You know, see these stands? $3, man, at a 99-cent store. It's a little mini midget stool or whatever. And then I just put some rubber on the top. You know, those are my stands, man. I've got 1, 2, one in my bag, 3, 4. You know, I need to get me a couple more. Man, but if you want to go spend, like I said, the 30, 40, 50, it could be more on stands like that, go ahead, man. You know? $3. You know, so, I mean, just stuff like that. I don't want to get into, I mean, I'll do another whole video of, you know, hey, how to penny pinch in Nitro, because you don't, you know, I've saved a lot of money, but I've also spent a lot of money because I know there's just certain things that you can't cut corners on. You know, there's guys out there that run the, you know, it's a decent whatever no-name motor, you know, and, you know, throws a rod, you know, 2 gallons of fuel later. You know, that's why I only deal with the Italians, man. These motors, they will last forever, but it all depends on how you break them in. That's very important, and how you maintain them and take care of them. So yeah, I watch Adam a lot, man. That guy's the intimidator right there. That is Dale Earnhardt living, because we know, God rest his soul, that the Intimidator #3 passed away many years ago, and John just paid homage and respect to him, and I thought that was cool. If you guys didn't see that video, watch it, you know, and then do it for Dale, man. That's what I call the video. Do it for Dale. That's what he called. Do it for Dale. But Adam Drake is that same type of person, man. The intimidator of Nitro RC. I mean, when the guy walks into a room, everybody knows that's the ambassador, man, of Nitro and E, whatever. I look at it Nitro, but even though he does E-Word too, he's just the king, man. He's more like the Richard Petty. We'll call him, because Richard Petty, you know, face it, Dale Earnhardt, legend, yada yada yada. But before him, the king. They only call one king in NASCAR, and that's Richard Petty. And I grew up watching him, even though I'm not a huge NASCAR guy. I remember having STP Richard, which was his car, you know, the blue and red, whatever color, man. Richard Petty, man. That guy's, you know, Mario Andretti, and the list goes on. There's tons of legends in racing. Okay, John Force is the guy that I look at because I love that. I love drag racing more than, you know, the hell with guys going in circles, the same 10 rednecks every year in NASCAR. I'm talking Nitro. I'm talking, you know, Nitro methane burning full scale, man. 0 to you know, almost 300 they're doing now, 250 I think, in like less than 4 seconds. Man, that's got to be a freaking rush. But anyway, enough of my babbling about all that. Adam has something that I'm going to talk about in a minute. I'm going to get you guys up to speed with what's going on in the Nitro Cave. FYI, the weather here has been beautiful, man. I'm trying to put in overtime. It's really hard because, okay, it's so beautiful. I get off early enough. I got a few hours to go do some Nitro running because, you know, over the weekend, it seems like I've got greedy, man. I just like, okay, well, at least if I run every week, I'm not settling for nothing, man. That's just me. I want more. I want more bang for buck. I want to utilize my money that I spent, you know, and I see it, and I see the results of my hard work and the money that I spent and the quality of stuff that I deal with now. But man, I just want more of it. You know, I'm like, man, if I can, I'm thinking of how I can get off work early. But then at the same time, I got to put in the time and the hours and overtime, because how else am I going to pay for this shit? Mom and Daddy Warbucks ain't buying shit for me. This is my hard-earned money. That's why when it comes to how I spend my money and manage my money and my Nitro, it's like a personal business for me, because I got to make sure that my dollars are put in the right areas. Like, I've got about $2 grand that I can spend right now. I can go on my laptop. I've already got it in my eBay cart and other, you know, AMain and other places, and I can push a button and I can spend $2 grand right now. But I'm not doing that because I got to look, you know, what I really need. Wants and needs are two different things. Do I want motors? Yeah. But do I need them? No, I have plenty right now. Does that mean I'm not going to get them? No, it's just that's not my... you know, for me personally, and this is just me. This is what works for me, and that's why I'm sharing this with you guys. To each his own, whatever floats your boat or whatever. You know, do what you want. Do I need another set of MIPs? No, because I have a great... You know, I have enough right now. Do I want them? Yes. Okay, so is that a necessity? No, it's a want. So, pump the brakes on that. Okay? Do I need another Novarossi 28.8 Rex Legend? Well, that one's a little difficult because I need another one of those. But seriously, I have one. I have a couple, matter of fact. So, you know, do I need another platform? I've got enough to keep me busy. But I am looking at another one right now. So I got to look at other things. I got to make sure my fuel's stocked up. I got to make sure I have extra plugs just in case those take a shit. I have a pin on my bottom outer hub carrier. This is the Mugen MBX. It's worn. I need to replace one of these. So I got to set that. I need, because if this breaks, excuse my language, I'm fucked. I got to look at the stuff that it's wearing. And that's where I get my priorities, okay? I got to take care of my platforms. And I got to make sure I have the things that I need for if my motor fouls a plug. If I don't have an extra plug, then I'm, again, excuse my language, I'm fucked because I can't run my motor because I don't have any plugs. And sometimes plugs are hard to find, especially for Nova Rossi lately because it's the off season, nobody's racing. You know, none of the RC businesses are, you know, thriving right now. They're just kind of developing and getting ready to, you know, release all their new shit when racing starts here soon. You know, shock oil. I mean, mostly the stuff that I look at first is my everyday maintaining shit. My fuel, my cleaners, my plugs, my filters, my bearings. Things that wear constantly and you're constantly going over, okay? Those are things that I need to buy before anything, because if those things fail or go wrong and I don't have the backups that I need, then I'm screwed. If I don't have backup arms and I break an arm, guess what? I'm screwed because I can't run now. So that's where, you know, then I get into, okay, I'm looking at a new motor. Okay, I'm looking at some new pipes. I'm looking at a new platform. I'm looking at some more tires. I'm looking at another body to paint. You know, those are wants, but they're not the needs that I need right now. So that's what I got to look at. So anyway, I had a guy said that, because I was mentioning about my, by the way, we have a special guest in the Nitro. I'm going to call this the Nitro corner right now, because this is the bench that my awesome mother got me for Christmas, and it was something that I really that I needed, man. And it's not a huge one. I'm going to get there's another piece to this that doesn't have a pegboard that's going to go next to it, so I'm going to kind of extend this out. I'm going to do some updates to the Nitro Cave, but again, that's a want. It's not something I need right now. I have, you know, what I have to work with is good for right now. But anyway, so, you know, right now I've got my motors that I'm continuing to break in, you know, the Pico, the Reds, the Nova Rossi. Those are the three motors, the recent ones that I got modified. This one hasn't been ran in a while now, so this one's coming up. It's time for this .21 Reds to get rolling. So, you know, Raja has a Reds. He put it in his truggy. You know, it's not hard to get a really good quality .21 to pull the front end up of a truggy. They might kind of sound like an oxymoron because we talk about, you know, how it's tougher to pull wheelies on a truggy, okay, because of the way they're set up and the bigger tire and all that. You know what I mean? And the longer body. You got to remember that's a big factor too. The shorter the body, okay, the easier it's going to be to pull the front end up. The longer the body, the harder it's going to be. And the reason it's kind of tough in a Techno is because, like I said, I mean, you can see right here on my, this is pretty much kind of a standard on the Mugen Truggy, MBX 7TR here. Badass freaking whip. Just had to throw that in. But it is badass. But anyway, see how where the motor mounts are back here? Now look at the Techno. The Techno, the motors, it's up farther. It's more in the when it sits, it's more almost dead center of the body. Okay, so this one here is harder to pull the front end up because of that. Because more of the weight is shifted forward, so there's more weight on the front than in the back. On the Mugen, it's a little bit easier because the front, the weight, or a low C, or you know, Associated, or a X-Ray, or you know, the other top truggy platforms. Now a buggy, you got to look at the same thing too. Now buggies are actually a little bit harder to pull the front end up on. I mean, actually, I'm sorry, easier, because the motors on these things are back pretty far. This one's getting ready to get a new chassis. I'm going to buy a new chassis for it. I had a chance to buy one. I shoot myself in the foot. $50, brand new chassis, 70-75 aluminum. The guy that I got this from that had it before, I hate when people do alterations and start drilling holes and shit, and it weakens the chassis, and it's just, I don't like that. So anyway, I'm going to replace that. But anyway, to get back to what we're talking about, a .21, a good strong .21 can pull up the front end up on a truggy. That's not a big deal. I mean, Raja had one. You guys don't remember it. Mine was pulling the wheels up and like crazy. And on this RV modded .21 Reds Team Edition. It's about a 2-year-old motor. It's probably got, before it got modded, it had a gallon through it, maybe a little more. Now as modded, it's got about, so this motor has got total about a little bit over 2 gallons through it. And this thing is still hella pinch. Like lots. And sorry about that. I mean, this thing has, you guys can hear that sucker, but it has a lot of pinch. Hear that? This thing has a lot of pinch and a lot more fuel to go through. So, I mean, I haven't ran, but, you know, like I said, 2 gallons through. But this is a good, this motor would have cost me, if I bought it brand new, about 300 and some change. I paid, with a gallon already ran through it, in the shape it's still in, because I take care of my motors, as you guys know. I paid about, I think was like I want to say less than 150, okay? So, I just can't justify spending more than, let's say, more than $200. I just will not spend more than $200 on a motor, because that motor is 135 bucks, less than 150, brand new, and that's a .28. The Rex Legend, all day long, brand new, 190 out the door. LRP, same thing, .32, 179.99 plus, we'll say 190, same thing, less than 200. So how am I going to justify spending $300 to $400 on a .21 for me? And I'm not racing. The answer is I can't. So I'm only going to buy it. And that OS one that I got was the same, about 150, and it came with a clutch bell, pinion, and a pipe. It came with this this Works pipe here, which is I love this pipe. It's a badass pipe. I need to try the 41032 header on it. So that's, you know, and the thing that I got coming, I am going to buy within the next couple months, you will see at least 4 pipes that I feel are the best pipes available. One of them's not really available, but the 4 best pipes for 8-scale Nitro modified motors. Okay, 086, as you know, and I've got 086 clones. An actual 086, no, but everybody's pretty much cloned. Not everybody, but there's a few companies that cloned an 086 to where you can get for, you know, 30-40 bucks. There's a company called Power Racing. They make a Y186. They make another something HS86, which is, you know, they cloned an 086 Dynamite, okay, pipe. There's also an OFNA 86, and then there's the infamous 9886, okay, Novarasi. Then there's the Endbleed. There's also the 98801, I believe. Quote me if I'm wrong. And then there's the the Endbleed, and yeah, and that's it. So I mean, the ones that I've seen John run mostly are the 086, the 9886, and the Endbleed. But there's one more. Now this one I recently found, and it was from a a company that modified, that's a professional, one of the top Nitro motor modifying companies. And there's a pipe by a company called Triton. You can look it up. I forgot the part number. If you guys are interested, you know, you'll see that pipe coming. And then keep in mind, for these pipes, you're spending, what, on the end bleed if you want it chromed, which I'm getting it chromed. I don't want to deal with the raw one, you know, getting corroded and all that bullshit. Chrome ones, yes, you got to clean them a lot more, but I think they look a lot better. You know, I mean, the raw ones are looking cool, but they don't stay like that. You got it. Those ones are even more cleaning, okay? So anyway, I just like the bling bling, okay? The raw is cool, but I like the bling bling. And by the way, if you watch any of John's videos, and other people will tell you when you get them coated, and especially if you can, I want to see if you can get a nitro pipe ceram coated. How about taking an end bleed and get it ceram coated, because that increases the power and it lasts longer, and there's other things. But anyway, there's a company called Triton. And there's two different pipes they have, but the one that they have, it's been dyno tested, and across the board, awesome bottom end, awesome mid, and sick ass top end. So across the board, it's a complete pipe. Okay, kind of like this Pico. This Pico that I have here, man, this is what I've been running on both of my modded Pico .28 and the Novarasi. This thing screams. It's got plenty of bottom end, it's got mid, and it's got top. Okay, I like that pipe. Matter of fact, I might get me another one of them, and they have a different one I want to try too. Picos make some good pipes, man. Remember, these are Italian, okay? So Pico and Novarasi are two of the best pipes manufactured because they make their shit and they're Italian. So who better not to go with? They make their shit. Pico makes their own motors. Novarasi makes their own motors, and they're Italian. Okay? Unfortunately, Reds is Italian, but they don't make them. Who makes their motors? I already told you, Pico does. This, Reds, and all Reds, are a Pico-based motor. Who makes the LRPs? OS. Again, OS, Pico, Novarasi are the only three manufacturers that I know of that quality, okay, that make their own motors. And I'm talking the block and everything. They make them for everybody else, okay? Like I said, OS makes them for LRP. Pico makes them for Reds. Okay? Now, Works, I'm not too sure. I know they're Italian. But again, Works is, they have .21s. It's so frustrating because all I see when I look on the internet, and because you guys know I'm hunting for motors, .21, because it's racing. That's what they race. That's why I don't race. I mean, if you've ever ran a modified, I can't wait, man. And like I said, I'm still not to the level that I want to be. Okay? I'm getting better. I'm getting more experience. But I'm looking to push the envelope, so to speak. I'm looking to go above and beyond what anybody that I've seen, including John, no disrespect to John Bodegel, the professor, I call him. He's my teacher, one of my teachers. Even to go push it to levels that I never seen him do in Nitro. How about this? How about we do, we talk about, the end bleeds the ulti. You gotta have an end bleed on a modified motor. Okay, why stop there? Why don't we take that modified motor that I haven't seen anybody do, and why don't we get a DLC coated crank and ceramic bearings on an Novarasi 28.8. I already priced it, and that's another $300. So I would be spending, including modding, I would be spending $600 on, a Novarasi 28.8 Rex Legend. Okay, so I would take this motor, not this one, but another one, get it modified, and have DLC coated crank and ceramic bearings on it. Now what would that do? A lot. Increase the performance, the power, and more importantly, the longevity of the motor. It would last a lot longer, because if you guys don't know, or you do know, DLC coated cranks just keep your bearings from going out. The reason people usually replace their bearings is because they don't have a DLC coated crank, and because cranks will, regular cranks will eventually wear out your bearings. The DLC coated crank, because it's coated, keeps your bearings from getting worn out as fast, lasts longer, plus everything else too. And then on top of that, having ceramic bearings, so you're talking about your motor, the longevity on your motor, and just the performance is, man, it's another level, And have an end bleed on that. So how about we take this, take a Novarasi modified 20.8 Rex Legend, we put the DLC coated crank, and we put the ceramic bearings on it. This is just what I'm thinking. I've been going over these things, because like I said, and when I was talking about how one of my Fitscale brothers said that, the only thing about Nitro, and he runs Fitscale, they've got more choices of motors and more, there's just more variety. Right now in Nitro, we really don't have a lot. Once you get to that level of, The 28.8, as we know, is the best, 28.8. And the biggest is the LRP .32. We really don't have anything bigger. There's really not a lot to compare with because we don't have a lot of variety because there is more .21s. You know, that's why guys that are into racing like Raja, they got a plethora of stuff. And by the way, there's one of my big words. Plethora means, you know, variety anyway. That's what it means. But, of motors, because .21s are all over the place. Everybody, there's all different kinds and different makes, and you know, when you get into the big motors, there's only a handful. And what I've seen, there's the Pico, .28, okay, and I already know that's a badass, good 28, big motor. The Novarasi, 28.8, okay, and then there's the LRP .32. Now, is there other 28s? Yeah, but not that quality. There isn't any other Italian big motor that's out there. Pico and there's a couple, but they're not well known. And you know, I will find these motors and I'll call Rick. That's the cool thing about, you know, Rick. You can call him and say, hey Rick, because he has tons of experience. What do you think about this motor? Well, they're okay. I said, I know, but they're Italian though. He goes, yeah, they're Italian. They're decent. But you know, you're still comparing them. That's the benchmark, as an Novarasi or a Pico. Are they as good of quality as them? No. Okay, so then I got to kind of look at it. Okay, I'm not looking to take a step back like I've said prior in my videos. I'm not looking to go backwards. I'm not looking to go from a back plate to a pull start. That's what that would mean. So I'm not looking to go anything. So these are what I'm measuring. That's why it's getting hard to find something that I find that's comparable. Where are you going to pay less than $200 for a motor this size of this quality? There isn't. Pico's the only thing that comes close. So, being that said, I'm like, okay, well, I got the LRP .32. So then once I get those three motors, and those are the motors that, you know, are the nonchalant, the creme de la creme, the filet mignon of Nitro right now. Once you get them modified and you run the end bleeds on them, okay, is that where it stops? Well, like I said, another level that I'm looking at is the DLC coated crank is about $200. Depending, maybe a little bit less, and ceramic bearings are, you know, anywhere from 50 to 100 bucks. Obviously, the better quality, the more they're going to be. So let's just say, like I said, for argument's sake, we're talking $300. So that would be a $300 investment. But is it going to be worth the investment? Oh yeah, it will be, because it'll make your motors last a lot longer, and you'll see an increased performance, and you'll get more power and everything. So, you know, that's basically the only other hop-up that I've got left on these motors. And I've definitely never seen anybody put a DLC-coated crank and ceramic bearings on a LRP .32. So those are things that I'm looking at, you know, because I'm not, you know, once there comes to a point where when I've done all I can do with the motors that I have, well, and then I have enough, then what? Well, then it's time for Fitzco, that's what. But until then, let me save my pennies and work my overtime so I can spend, you know, $600 on an 8-scale Nitro motor, which some people would think you're crazy. I don't think the only person that I know would think I was crazy is maybe two guys that I know. Both of them are running Fitzco right now. And I know the way that these guys are, and they wouldn't have it. They'd be like, yeah, man, why not do that? Why don't you do that and see what happens? You know? Because they haven't done it themselves. So why not? Why not the Muggy Maniac? Why? Let me be the first. Let me be the frickin' guinea pig. Let me be the lab rat. Okay? I have no problem with that. Because worst case scenario, my motor lasts longer. Maybe it doesn't do that much increase in performance. But I'm betting that it will. So, and I'm gonna do more research before. Trust me, I will do more research before I invest that kind of money. And you guys know how I am. I'm not going to go drop, you know, $600 on a Nitro motor unless I know. I mean, and you can spend that on a stock .21. They're $500 for an OS or a Reds. Look at them, price them. Sure, they might come with a pipe, but still. I'd rather spend $500 on a Nitro motor where it's going to, man, I'm going to see, you know, a .21, a $500 .21 compared to a investment of a modified, you know, all that shit I just talked about, .28 or 32, will spank that $600 .21's ass all day long. If you're racing, then that doesn't mean shit, because you can't run that kind of motor anyway. You got to run, you know, the pea shooters, I call them. But this Reds is a badass motor, you know. The new Reds, they come with DLC coated cranks and ceramic bearings, you know. But like I said, they're, you know, $400 or $500. I might even put ceramic bearings in, you know. I'm looking for another one. If I can find another motor just like this for about what I paid, the same, gallon or less or new, I'll buy another one. I like that motor that much. And I'll put a DLC coated crank and ceramic bearings. I will make that a sick-ass street model. That's what would be the equivalent of it. If you guys know about street drag, street racing, people that hop up their cars and all that, that's what that would be. I want to street drag the motors that I already know to this point, or pretty much for right now are the biggest and baddest motors in Nitro that are out there. And that would be the .28 Pico, the LRP .32, and then over Veracity 28.8. Now there's other ones out there, but there's not any ones that are that quality or bigger. Okay, there's a lot more .28s. But most of them are 5 ports, there's 3 ports, most of them are rice burners, Chinese. You know, there isn't, that's it. That's why I'm, you know. No Veracity, 28.8 Rex Legend, Pico P3, 7 port, .28. Okay, those are the two, in my opinion, best quality big nitro motors out there. If you're going to get a .21, just, you know, I suggest get an Italian one, but do what you want. Those FXs I heard are good. I'd like to take one of those. Well, why don't I, maybe that might be another thing I'm looking at too. Why don't I do what Mr. Mike B and Roger 111, and they're so sold on those FXs, you know, and they're mostly, these are the guys that are running on tracks. Why don't I take that motor that Raja has, because I don't think he'll do that, because he's not concerned about, you know, modifieds, because he's you know, he's more doing the racing thing. I mean, he has them, but he's more doing the racing thing. So why don't I take one of those FS K5 or whatever and send that to Rick and get him to modify the shit out of that thing, and then we'll see what that K5 is really made out of. We'll really wake that bitch up. Because to me, a real a good quality nitro motor, whether it's a .21 or a whatever size, is not fully stretching the potential of what that motor can do until you modify it. Then you see what that motor has and what it's made out of and what it could do, and if it can handle it. Because there's been plenty of times that, you know, not me personally, but I know plenty of people that have modified motors. They're just not the quality. Rick will tell you that too. You know, he's modified tons of rice burners and tons of motors that aren't that, like, you know, the Traxxas 3.3. So I'm sure that thing don't last very long, especially once you modify it. You can't. The block's a piece of shit. If you're building, like I said before, the foundation of all your shit is very critical, man. Motors, platforms, everything. If your motor's shitty quality and you're modding it, or you're hopping it up, you're building on sand, man. That thing's going to crumble eventually. It's not going to last. You need to make sure the core of what you have is solid. That's why I stress that a lot. Same thing with your platforms. If you're running a fucking, excuse my language, Traxxas or some RTR, and it ain't set up for modified motors, and it ain't set up for bashing, and you don't have your aluminum braces and your carbon fiber and your titanium hinge pins and all that stuff, man, it's going to crumble. Trust me. I'm sure if John took an RTR or Losi and jumped the way that he did off buildings and shit, that thing would have exploded into pieces. The only thing is his 4.0 Truggy lasted as long as it is because he took the necessary precautions of setting it up to get beat up. And he still bent dog bones and snapped shock tower, or, you know, he still broke shit. You know, not a lot, because that Low-C's pretty tough. You know, I will give Low-C that. That 4.0 is pretty tough. It's a pretty tough cookie. But that's about it. Technology-wise, sufficient. Racing, competitiveness, no. Durability? Yeah. If you you know, upgrade it. Don't try to take an RTR and do some serious bashing, because you will break shit. Trust me. Just watch some videos. Search YouTube. There's plenty of them out there. So anyway, And last but not least, the oil break-in thing. I'm going to touch on that really briefly, and then I'm out because my videos, again, are running long, man. I just can't do a 30-minute video, and it's real tough for me, man, because there's just so much shit that I want to share with people and so much stuff that I'm learning. And as I've been doing this almost 4 years now, it's like in the last month, my knowledge of and what I'm taking in and what I'm applying has just increased so much. It's just, I want to share it with you guys, and Nitro is not hard to do. Nitro is so much fun, man. There's nothing, I repeat, nothing sounds, smells, feels, and gives me the satisfaction of Nitro. And I ran eWord way before this for many, many years when eWord was a lot harder than it is now. It's so easy now that it bored me. And like I said, I had people telling me, I done 5th scale, and Nitro's harder. Nitro's hard, man. It's not easy. That's why a lot of people ain't, like my old man used to say, and this kind of applies to that, in the workforce. Anything that's easy to do doesn't pay you shit. The harder it is, a job for you to do, and the harder it is, pays you the most money, period, end of story. That's a fact, okay? Fact of life. So in Nitro, same thing. eWord is so freaking easy. That's why the satisfaction is nothing. What? There's no sound. There's no... I don't see people getting all jacked up running eWord. I mean, compared to Nitro, hell no. Man, every time, and this is, like I said, how long I've been doing this now, every time when I go to fire up my Nitro, man, I get the jitters, and I get all, my heart starts beating fast, and, I start getting all, like amped up, man. This shit gets me fired up, man. I love it, man. When I know I'm going to run, and when I get there and I'm warming it up, I gotta try to concentrate because I'm just so excited to run my shit, man. Because that's how much I love this shit, man. I love brapping my shit, man. Seeing my shit pull wheelies, seeing my shit sound the way it does, smelling that Nitro, feeling it when you pull the trigger, wow, and the thing just get busy, man. That's what it's all about, man. It ain't about my shit just sitting in here looking all pretty and me doing videos of, and showing you how good my manicure is, and which, by the way, mine isn't. And let's run some shit too. I not only talk shit, but I run shit. Okay, so I'm probably gonna run tomorrow. Some guy said, "Hey, why don't you put the Nova back in the Pico and see if it can pull the front end up?" Well, it's already been in the Techno. I mean the Pico. I'm sorry, I'm all messed up. The Nova Rossi has already been in the Techno. But I'm going to run it again because I want to run a little bit more fuel through that. It's pretty much good to go, but I want to run some more fuel through it just to get that, piston and that sleeve a little bit more seated. And then we'll shut the Nova down, and I've already shut the Pico down for a minute, and we're going to get it back into the Reds. And, I might even throw the Reds in one of these truggies, man. And, that Reds is no joke, okay? You guys have seen it in the buggy. I don't think anybody might have seen it in the Techno, even though I have an older video if it's still up. I ran it in the Techno, and it did okay. But it's kind of weird because, you're putting in a .21, even though it's modified, trying to fill the shoes of a .28 modified in the same platform. Definitely is a difference. A lot more RPMs. It screams a lot more, but as far as torque and everything, it's not as much as the bigger ones, but it still has it though. That Reds is a pretty torquey motor, man. It's torquey. It screams. It's got the long stroke, so it's got lots of top end, and we'll gear it up, and I don't know. I'll either throw it in the Mugen or I'll throw it in the Techno. So we'll see. But anyway, Adam Drake has a service he offers for oil bath. Have you guys ever heard of it? It's a machine that they make where you set your motor in the oil and you break it in the oil. And what that does is it helps lop the piston and the sleeve. This might be a little bit technical for you newbies, so maybe you might want to tune out about now because I'm going to get technical for some of the guys that have been doing this a little bit longer. Or ready to go to a whole different level. What this does is by breaking your motors in these oil... By the way, I found one. You can get them for about $100. They're not real expensive, but they're not cheap. 100 to 200 bucks. I think it's worth the investment. The main reason is that what I'm, talking to Adam, and I asked him a bunch of questions, emailed him, and These machines, you give your motor an oil bath. The motor sets inside of a machine, submerged in a certain oil, a viscosity of oil, and you slowly break in and heat. The oil heats up and it heats and breaks in the motor, running it in this oil. And what that does, it makes it just saves you tons of gas and tons of time, to where when you get done with this oiling process, and it takes around 10 hours to do it, once you get done with this oiling bath, you take your motor out, and when you put it in your vehicle, okay, and you're only going to run maybe a couple tanks, 3 or 4 tanks, maybe 5 tanks max, and your motor's ready to scream, ready to hit to peg the throttle, ready to tune it and everything. That to me is like, that's one of the not, I don't want to say the worst things, but the most time consuming is when you get new motors. You got to break them in, and it takes time, and it's just, you know, it's hours and hours and hours and fuel and all that. This machine will save you time and money, and your motor will last longer. In fact, with these machines, you get longer run times, better fuel economy. Your sleeve, your rod, your piston, the whole motor, everything lasts longer and performs a lot better. So all that around is like, that's all green flags, man. Well, why wouldn't you want one? Well, you have to learn how to use it, and you know, it is not cheap to get one, but it just, you know, saves you time and money, man, and I'm all on that. That's the only thing that I hate about breaking in motors, is that you have to, you know, you just want to fire that thing up and put it on the ground and just frickin', you know, pull the trigger. But you can't, unless you want to, excuse my language, fuck your motor up. So yeah, these oil machines are really, really cool. Motor baths. There's modifying companies that do it out there. I know a couple of them that they do that service. Adam offers it now, and he's getting results from all the top guys in the world of Nitro. Use his braking system. Mayfield, Ungaro, Ty Tessman, Battle, Cavallari, all these guys, and they're winning, and their cars are performing with Adam's break-in system. And you can do it with any motor. It's not just for a certain motor. You know, if that's what Ryan Mayfield, he's breaking in, Adam's breaking in his motors, and you know, these guys are placing podiums and winning. You know, so the proof's in the pudding. Adam obviously has a, you know, a pedigree of, you know, of experience of a lot in Nitro, and now he's offering, and I might think, and you know, have him so I can try it out and see what it does before I invest in one of the machines. You know, I got to find out what his service and what he charges. You know, a couple $100, whatever. Send him a Nova Rossi 28.8 Rex Legend, have him do the oil bath thing, get it back, and then run a few tanks through it, and then see what happens. You know, but I'll have to get the motor, you know, modified first. And I'll have to ask him, what if it's modified too? So there's a few things. Before I invest in something like that, you guys know me, I'm going to do the research. I'm not just going to go spend a couple $100 on this machine, you know, because I heard it's good. Just like I'm not going to go spend all this money, you know, on these motors because I heard they're good. I'm not going to go buy a bunch of pipes until I buy, or, you know, until I try one and know that it's good. So just don't go by what I say or what anybody says. And, you know, you got to experience it yourself, man. That's just the way Nitro is. You got to put in the time and the effort. And one last note, Badlands, right? Hard to find. I got 2 more pairs coming that I found, but you're good luck on finding them now. But they're out there. You just got to look, man. They're hard to find now. One of these, this is my second Badland, and I glued these things good. It isn't my gluing, so one of these tires. Was it one of them? Hold on a minute. Sorry, people. Give the Muggy Maniac a second here. No. Where the hell's that tire at? One of my tires. Oh, there it is. So, this was from the Mugen. Can you guys see? Look at that. Blew them right off. So, make sure you glue your tires well. You know, you got to let them set and cure once you glue them at least 24 hours. I would anyway. And, you know, I might have just missed a spot. I know I glued these things, and I know these things sat. But, you know, man, I'm telling you, these Proline Badlands, I would suggest even go a step further before you mount them, if you get them or have them. And I might take these apart and line them with Gorilla Tape on the inside. Yes, it makes them heavier, but since if you're not racing and you're bashing, it doesn't matter. It's not that much more weight. It's better than them blowing off the rims. Because the Proline insert, or I might try different inserts. Proline inserts suck. Their inserts are garbage. They don't last that long. And these Prolines, once they get, just like any other tire, once they get worn in, the rubber gets softer and softer. So once it gets softer, they're going to still balloon. Even on a 4-inch rim with, you know, a 3.8 tire stretched over it. Okay, which is what these are. This whole idea of a 4-inch rim with a 3.8 tire, stretching it over it, you know, decreases the ballooning, but there's still ballooning involved. And as these tires get softer, they're still ballooning. And as you can see, and I glue my tires the way they should be glued with the right glue, I'm still blowing them off. You know, so anyway, I'm going to have to look into that, and, you know, I'm re-gluing them for right now, and if that doesn't hold again, then I'm going to take them apart and change the inserts. You just want to make that tire tight inside, you know, whether it's more inserts or whether it's doing the duct tape on the inside of the tire to keep it from ballooning, especially modified motors. Now, if you're running stock motors, you don't even have to worry about that. This only applies to if you're running modified motors. That's just something to watch for. Like I said, when you run modified motors, you're putting a lot more power and stress on everything. So make sure you check your shit. You better Loctite every damn, I even Loctite plastic, shit that screws into plastic. I'm Loctiting anything that has a screw or a bolt, even if it has a lock nut on it, or even if it, you know, because you're only supposed to Loctite stuff that goes in, you know, steel to steel. I don't give a shit. I'm Loctiting anything, man. I just want to dip my platform in glue, because these modified motors are rattling, shit's coming loose everywhere all the time. So it's a lot more power, man. You're putting a lot more power through a platform that is only designed for, you know, at most a .25. And that's stock. You know, even the low-Cs that come with the 28s, that's a pull start, and then that's stock. You know, and that's a piece of shit motor. So when you go to put quality modified motors in these RTRs and you haven't done anything to it but take the old motor out and put the modded one in, man, you're asking for trouble, man. I'm telling you, you better check your shit. You better check yourself before you wreck yourself. You know, the ice cube thing. You better check your platform before you wreck that shit. So anyway, that's just food for thought. Watch on those Badlands if you're you know, running mod motors, because you know, you might have that problem. I'm just running into that, but hopefully it's not an issue. We're gonna get the Muggy out here soon. Again, we can't forget about the Muggy. I don't know. I might throw, you know, that might be, you know, a little bit of entertainment. I might take some modded motors, and I haven't really only thrown one in here, and run them through this thing, because I got all the spare parts that I need. So if I blow anything out or break anything, I can replace it. So why not? Let's see if the Muggy can handle some modified power in there. So anyway, all right, people. Muggy Maniac, enough of my babbling. That's just some stuff that I wanted to share with you guys. Look for a video coming up in the next 24 hours. I'll be uploading another rap session. Whoever you are, I forgot your name. Let's see if we'll see. I don't know. I already know, but for your entertainment, let's see if the 28.8 Rex Legend, modded by RB Mods, can pull wheelies in the Techno. Trust me, it can. Anyway, all right, people. That's all I got. Peace. I'm out.